Morning.
Morning. Cricket or non-cricket, which way we go?
Whichever way you choose to go.
Whichever way the ball swings. Oh, it's just what have you made about what's happening on the other side, and have you just told your side to just stay clear and focus on what you do?
Yeah, for sure, that's what we've said. You know, after the first Test match, all the talk was De Kock, Warner. After the second Test match, all the talk was Smith, Rabada, that whole situation. So we come to the end of the third Test match, and we're just very pleased that, you know, we're not involved in the stuff that's going on. You know, so that's something for them to sort out.
Have you been surprised, Ottis, at how big it's been? Obviously it's not the first ball tampering incident we've seen in cricket. What separates this one from the rest that's made this one the kind of global sensation that it's become?
Look, I don't know, you know, but I have been surprised at how big it has become. But, you know, at the end of the day, when you see such a deliberate act to, like you saw on TV, then people, you know, people will become very interested in it, and especially the way that it was planned. It seemed from what Steve Smith said, it was planned by a few of them. Obviously then that makes it a bigger topic for people to talk about. You know, I think Cricket Australia is a 100-year-old cricket organization, you know, so to have something like this on their doorstep with all the, you know, Cricket Australia has also been the envy of the world in terms of winning World Cups and so on, and they've produced obviously great teams and great players for a long time. So those great teams and great players of the past will feel like their good name, if you want to call it that, has been tarnished a bit. So obviously, you know, people have a right to be upset about it.
Otis, the Australians look pretty flat on the fourth day of the test. I suppose you don't need to tell your guys to keep that ruthlessness, but do you see them actually standing up? And that's now the Australians, and after being bowled out for.
Look, we knew it was going to be tough for them, but we also had to make it so. You know, we had to make it tough. And I thought, you know, they played very well up to tea time. After tea time, we had the opportunity to regroup and said, look, you know, we just need to get one wicket here, and one wicket could cause a collapse. You know, I think even in the series so far, both teams have collapsed at various different stages, you know, so mentally we knew they weren't in a great place, but we still had to apply pressure to them to see if we can get them to crack, and the collapse was obviously spectacular.
Were you proud of how ruthless South Africa actually was?
Yeah, for sure, because it's something that we've been talking about for a couple of games now. We've had, even in the first innings in this Test match, we had an opportunity to put a much bigger score on the board. You know, we were 200 for 2 or something like that, and we got bowled out for 311. And then we had them 170 for 8, and they got 250. You know, so we were talking about it. So it was really good from our point of view that we were then able to go out and do what we said we we're going to do, because the measure of a good team is whether you can say what you're going to, whether you can do what you say you're going to do and do it consistently.
And with regards to your team is actually coming into getting some momentum lately, and actually playing some of the best cricket right now. Would you have wished that there was another Test series maybe in between before Sri Lanka?
No, I don't think so. It's been a long summer, you know. I think it's been a long summer. We've had a lot of injuries. There's still quite a few broken bodies on the field. Fast being held together by I was going to say sticky tape then, but that's probably not the right phrase. But fast bodies being held together, you know, and AB's fingers are still dodgy, you know. So we've got a few niggles that we need, obviously, to get those niggles sorted out. But we still got another Test match to play as well, you know. And whatever we've done in the series so far, a lot of that good work will be undone if we can't go home and then go to Joburg and then really take advantage of that situation and win in Joburg, because ultimately we set out to win the series and we haven't done that yet.
Coach, please just a word on how the fast bowlers are looking. You speak of having had a long series and a couple of injuries here and there, and the readiness of Rian Mulda and Lugin Gidi looking at the pace and bounce of obviously the Wanderers.
Yeah, I mean, as we always do when we get to a venue, we then look at the sort of composition of the team and the conditions and see which way we're going to go. We've changed We've made maybe a bowling change every game. You know, and in a three-man attack, it's nice to freshen at least one bowler up. You know, we rested Morne in PE. Morne came back here to Cape Town. He was very fresh. He bowled brilliantly well. When Lungi missed out the first test, when he played in the second test, he also was fresh and bowled well. So we'll see when we get to Joburg, you know. But Vian Mulder is improving all the time, and he will definitely come into the reckoning in Joburg. It's his home ground. You know, it could be, we could need an all-rounder there, another all-rounder, and a fourth bowling option. So there are quite a few sort of changes that we could make that will add value and strengthen the team. You know, but like I said, what we'll do is we'll have a look at the conditions, then we'll try and pick the best team to win the test match.
Otis, you've played, you've been a coach. I think what we saw from the Australians was perhaps a little bit of desperation brought about perhaps by the pressure of needing to win. Do you think the pressure has become a bit too great in international cricket generally, or international sport?
Not in my opinion. I think, you know, the Aussies, they've said it themselves. Their players, or the brand of cricket they play is win at all costs. You know, and sometimes when you have that mindset, you know, when you look at the Ashes, they were never really behind many of the games there. I think they won quite comfortably. Here they've been behind a couple of times, and perhaps that desperation that you speak of came into it for them, you know. But like I said, it's a shame that something like this had to happen for them to have a look at themselves, you know. And but we just like I said, leave that to them, and we'll try and focus on winning the next game.
Just from a you understand the art of reverse swing probably better than most, but you're also now the head coach, and we've seen the fact that Darren Lehman has come, even though he wasn't on the field. How important is it for you going forward as a head coach that this never happens under your watch?
Well, look, every team since the beginning of time, reverse swing and all that, everybody tries to get the ball reverse in, they skim it in, they bounce it in, they try and get it rough, the spinner gets his hand in the dirt, rub it on the ball. Everybody's got a way of getting the ball to go a little bit further, because the ball will reverse naturally, and then everybody has a way of trying to get it to go a little bit further. And like I said, perhaps maybe a little desperation. Obviously they were behind the game at the stage, caused them to take it that step further, you know, and it's unfortunate.
I'm saying, but just on your watch, how important is it for this not to happen?
Well, look, I would hope that it never happens under my watch. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, we're whiter than white or anything, but we'll try and play the game within the rules of the game all the time. You know, we're not gonna. We know where the rules are, and the imaginary line that was talked about for the whole series, we sort of feel like we know where that is, and we'll make sure that we never try and cross that line.
Otis, do you think maybe it's time for cricket to consider changing the ball tampering laws? I mean, they seem to be a bit petty sometimes.
Look, I don't know, the ICC, the ICC, that's one for them, you know. If you look at it in what has just happened, you look at Rabada sort of just brush shoulders with Steve Smith, and he could have been banned for 2 games. And then you look at this situation, and Steve Smith, the rules of the ICC rules themselves says that he just 40 merit points on 1 game, then it would seem a little bit, you know, a bit weird, you know, that something so trivial on Rabada's side, and then something so serious on Smith's side, and the punishment doesn't really seem to match, you know. So, but again, the ICC are the custodians of the game, you keep hearing, so they're the ones that have to now sit down and look at their own processes and see if it makes sense that they look at this with a bit more seriousness.
I realise it's not your problem, but how shattered do you think the Australians will be at the Wanderers?
That's not my problem. You know, look, we're trying to win the series, so from that point of view, we hope they're very shattered, and we can play. But we know they're going to come back. You know, they're still a very good team. They've been a very good team for a long time. You know, even if they've somehow lost their way, they're still a very good team with very good players. You know, I'm still a huge fan of their bowling attack. You know, they got 3 6'6" fast bowlers bowling 140. I thought Pat Cummins was excellent in the last Test match. You know, 24 years old, kept coming in all the time, got crucial wickets for them in the first innings and in the second innings. Then I see him running around the boundary, diving around on the field. You know, so I'm still watching their cricketers, watching their bowlers, and thinking, wow, you know, that's a very good bowling attack they've got.
Otis, do you expect the same welcome for the Australians in Joburg from the home crowd?
Look, I'm not going to get involved in the crowd thing. The crowd, hopefully we have a big crowd, you know. It's an opportunity we have to win a series against Australia for the first time ever. So hopefully we have a decent crowd, and by decent I mean, you know, respectful crowd that will come and watch a good game of cricket and enjoy it and go home entertained. I think Newlands on Sunday, everybody that was in the stand went home entertained, you know, and hopefully that was what we will get.
Otis, and just on your fast bowlers, Mornay's retiring now.
Yeah.
You've mentioned that you could rest someone and then bring in someone else, but now that Mornay's gone, have you identified a couple of guys that could make that step up for the next season? And if you can mention some names for us.
Well, Lungi is part of the situation at the minute. He's not regular in the team, so he has an opportunity to make himself a regular in the team. Doan Oliver has been in and out of the team, so again he has an opportunity to try and put his hand up and take that spot. I'm still very hopeful that Dale Steyn will be back. We've missed him all summer. He's not played, so I'm pretty sure he's doing everything he can to be fit and get back. I've seen a couple of really good kids. I've seen Anrik, I'm going to try and see if I get his name, Anrik Norkia from the Warriors. He's come and bowled to us in the nets a couple of times and looked very good. Junior Dala played in the one-day series and looked very good as well. So there are a few around, you know, so, but with people leaving and people retiring, there's always opportunities for somebody else to come in and try and stake a claim, you know, and hopefully that some of those names that I called there will be the ones to put their hands up.
Can you talk a bit about the role of the host broadcaster in all of this? I mean, obviously this whole situation with the replays and the close-ups and the relentless replays kind of, you know, exposed it the way that it was exposed and made it, I suppose, the big thing that it was. I mean, does this happen, if the exact same thing happens in Australia, do we get that kind of footage?
Well, I would like to think so. I think the host broadcaster just did their job and they did it very well. You know, they were. It seemed like they saw something a little bit untoward, and they were diligent in doing their job. And you know, we are obviously very, very proud of Super Sport and the job that they did.
It's just, do you think it was a bit amusing that the umpires didn't award the 5-run penalty after guys admitted and then later having a chat with Faf and Cooney about their behaviour on the field?
I don't know about the behaviour thing on the field, but the umpires, I think the rule says if the umpires feel like the sort of conditions the ball was changed, then that's when you allow you award 5 penalty runs, and they said they didn't feel like the conditions of the ball was altered, even though the TV clearly showed that something was being done to the ball, you know. But again, that's their job, you know. From the start of the series, I said any series that involves Australia and South Africa and England and India, those big series need the best umpires and strong umpires, you know, and that's also something for the ICC to look at.
But do you ever remember in your experience as a player and a coach the home team being done for ball tampering on video evidence?
No.
Do you think that's maybe part of the narrative here, that it's, you know, the television company is looking out to nail the visitors?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's how it was. Like I said, the cameraman, whoever, I don't even know who the cameraman is, but whoever it was probably saw something that he thought was a little bit, you know, a lot of those cameramen have been, you know, sort of doing this cricket thing for a long time, you know, so he sees something that looks a bit untoward, and then he follows it. You know, a lot of the time the camera follows the ball, so it was probably unfortunate for Bancroft that the ball was with him at the time, and the cameraman was following the ball, and there you go, you know, you have a story. So, but it's unfortunate for cricket, obviously, you know, Test cricket, there's been so much talk about Test cricket recently that it is obviously very, very unfortunate for cricket.
Otis, looking at the India series and now Australia, how do you rate the pitch difference, especially at Newlands, and then Durban coming down to PE as well?
I think the pitches, you know, the India series, you know, we wanted to play a certain way. Obviously we played 4 fast bowlers because we thought that would, in our home conditions, that would give us an advantage, and we won the series. So we felt like the pitches there were good. You know, obviously we had a bit of a situation at the Wanderers that was, again, unfortunate, but Australia, the way they played, we thought we would go a different route with 7 batsmen. You know, we've played 3 fast bowlers and a spinner, and that has also worked. You know, we're leading the series now, and we need to do, we'll get to Joburg, we'll look at the conditions, and then we'll try, like I said, and pick the team that we think will best win us the game in those conditions.
How much of a concern is Faf du Plessis' form at the moment?
It's not a concern. He's our leader, you know, and of course we would like him to make runs. I'm sure he would like to make some more runs himself. But you know, his job goes far beyond making runs for us. You know, runs is important, don't get me wrong, but we also, his leadership is crucial to the way we play our cricket as well.
Just touch wood. Would this series win be sweeter than the India one if you do get it?
I think so, for the South African public. You know, South Africa and Australia are 2 great sporting nations, and South Africa has never beaten Australia in South Africa in Test cricket. And even when I heard it at the beginning, I thought it didn't seem right. You know what I mean? So hopefully we can get over the line. You know, we haven't got there yet. We're obviously in a great position to try and do that, but we haven't got there yet. But hopefully we can go to Joburg and we can get a win, and then we would think that this would rank probably better than the India one in the context of everything that's gone on this summer.
You've been involved in an Ashes series. There's so much intensity in this one.
Yeah.
How does it compare?
The Ashes is a lot of hype and stuff like that. This, you know, and I don't know whether it was because of what happened when South Africa was in Australia last time or whatever. This one's had a bit of an edge to it that is different to Ashes, because at the end of an Ashes, you know, you sit down and have a drink together and so on. You know, when we played against India, you know, the series was a tough series. At the end of every game, the guys came and had a drink and so on, and we haven't had that opportunity yet with the Aussies for whatever reason. You know, because after every Test match there was some sort of drama. Somebody had to go and see the match ref. There was some little conflict between the teams and stuff like that. And you know, cricket is still, at the end of the day, a gentleman's game, and hopefully the next Test can get somewhere back towards being a gentleman's game, and we can have a beer and enjoy. Because we all, with everything that has gone on after every Test match, we've also forgotten that it's been 3 very good Test matches. You know, that's had 3 results, and they smashed us in Durban. Obviously, we had to go away and do a little bit of talking and better planning and organising, which we did, and we played very well in Port Elizabeth and won, and then, you know, we've come to Cape Town and won again. But you know, every series there's been instances and headlines that always took it away from cricket, you know, and that's unfortunate. Okay.